Hey everyone, welcome back to the Geekdom Initiative. I am Ben and with me is Don and special guest Dave. How are you guys doing today?
I am doing great. I'm so glad that I could come back after all my rantings and raving. The last time you had me on this podcast, I wasn't immediately blacklisted or black rock listed, I may say.
Oh,
Good one. There we go.
Uh,
See?
yeah, no, I'm so excited to be back. You guys do. I listen to you guys every week, and I'm just so happy that I get to come back and talk about another fantastic episode of Lost.
yeah, this is definitely a top 3 episode for me for this season. Maybe top 5. How about you, Don? How are you and how do you
Oh, yeah.
feel about this one?
No, I'm doing great. Yeah. Yeah, I love Saeed. He's a great character anyway. So, of course, this is,
Saeed is my favorite character.
Is he really? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's up there. He's definitely up there for me. I think I'm a Charlie guy still. I just love Charlie and Hugo. Those two for me are just so great. But I don't want to get too far ahead, but I love.
You're a Desmond guy. We know.
I'm a Desmond guy.
you
I'm a Locke guy, and I'm a Sawyer guy. Those are my 3.
See, I like Sawyer once the time jump happens, and Jen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then become kind of like Snarky and Hutch a little bit.
Dude, them two in the future or in the past is so. I don't want to get too far ahead, but I love that whole season, and
Yeah.
But yes, no, this is a great episode though with Saeed because he is one of the. I think he's really especially in these early seasons because of his knowledge of technology and stuff. I mean, he is who really keeps them alive, or at least keeps them on a path throughout these first couple seasons. You know what I mean? Especially this first season.
If I may, like, if Jack had died in the pilot, and Saeed was able to be the leader of the 815ers, I think they would have gotten rescued a lot earlier.
That's probably true.
Because you see, like, already immediately, there's so many times throughout the season already that Jack has been like, "Oh, I don't want to be the leader. I don't know. I see my dead dad." Ooh, and Saeed's like, "All right, well, you get water, you get food, you get technology.
Get out of my face. I got this here."
Yeah, maybe he does some light torturing. Fine, but like he is the shadow leader of the other, or not of the others, of the A15ers, and you'll see that going forward. Like when the raft burns and stuff, he's like the first responder.
Well, if he brings a science to the group, it brings a science to the group. Mm-hmm. I will argue he really brings a heart to the group.
Yeah,
he does in a lot of ways. Yes, I agree with that.
And we will definitely talk about that this episode.
Oh,
well, now let me ask you, because of how close this was to 9/11, how much of a hated character was he supposed to be? Was he supposed to be somebody like you didn't like at first because of once you kind of find out who he is, and then as you get to his story, you like him more? Is that how he was written?
No, this is going back to original interviews with Damon Lindelof and J.J. Abrams from the first season. They talk about how Saeed, it was very important to them. In 2004, you're only 3 years removed from 9/11. There was still a lot of Islamophobia, and he's not only a Islamic character, but he actively fought on the other side in the Gulf War.
Right.
But they thought it was very important to have someone who would come in and represent all those stereotypes that you see, like Sawyer pushing against in the very first episode, where he's like, "You blew up the plane" and stuff. But to show that people in extreme situations like this would be able to band together and overcome these adversities.
I like that better than
and one of them actually fell in love with him.
Yeah.
Let's not forget about the whole Shannon.
Oh,
Yeah, don't get there
Dynamic.
yet. Don't get there yet, man.
no.
That was
This episode is this episode perfectly sets up that Nadia should be in the church with Saeed at the end, not Shannon.
oh, that's true. That is true.
Nadia is intrinsically involved in so many other people's characters.
Yeah,
She's all over this.
that is
But
fair.
why do you think that she's not there? Do you have a theory?
Because, well, no, it's not a theory. It's straight up what Christian Shepherd says. The time you spent on the island is the most important time in your life.
right.
So that means the time you spent with Shannon was the most important thing. It's like, it's not, though. He left and
Yeah.
he married Nadia for 3 years.
Yeah, Nadia was definitely still his love. Yeah.
And then he threw his life away to become an assassin for Ben Linus, but that's not for much later.
Right. Yeah.
We're having back. We're having back in season 4 and 5. But it is only season 1.
Freaking Jason Bourne Saeed when he straightens his hair. It's great.
Not to mean John Wick. I mean, honest, he's John Wick.
Yeah,
Not
well,
Jason
John Wick
Bourne.
didn't exist yet at that point.
Jason Bourne? And
Not to that. No.
No, John Wick was like 2011, I think, was
Something
the first movie.
Yeah.
And Lost was done. You know what?
Even
Keanu
Jason
ripped
Bourne-
off.
I don't even
Keanu
know.
ripped him off.
Would the first Bourne movie have been in 2004?
I feel like the first Bourne happened much earlier than we think.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
if you told
I'm
me
just
the
trying to
first
remember
Bourne
when
happened
it
in like
was.
98, I'd believe you.
That's fair.
But I think it was very important, especially in this episode, to just build on what you were saying, to have a flashback episode showing his time working in. I forget if at this point it would have still been under Saddam's reign, if it was still part of the Republican Guard,
right.
or I think this is. No, this is after the liberation, because this is after Kate's dad has taught him how to torture.
Okay.
So I guess it's post Saddam, but it's still very important to show someone who lived completely differently to the way the three of us white dudes were living over here in North America, and getting that perspective, especially this early in the season, I think was really important for the character and the show as a whole.
I just wasn't sure, only because I never watched the show when it came out, so I watched it later. So I liked Saeed from the beginning. I just never, I was just always wondering, because of how close it was written to that, if maybe they were trying to make a. But I'm glad. I like what you said a little better. I think that's a better way of approaching it.
Yeah.
Real quick, the Bourne Identity, 2002.
Yeah. So that's
Okay.
Yeah, so that's pre. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Wow, the 2000s went too fast.
Yeah, fun fact.
Well, it's like the first time me and Ben ever talked to Lost on this show, we talked about Michelle Rodriguez, and I was like, oh yeah, and then she had to go do the Fast and Furious movies, and Ben was like, had those happened yet? And I was like, Ben, the first Fast and Furious movie happened in '99.
I still don't believe that.
Yeah, you have Google in front of you,
right? It's crazy. It is.
But what did so this is also a big episode for. Or sorry, I don't want to like step on your guys's.
No,
go ahead.
Yeah.
This is the first time a mystery has really been answered on the show, where in pilot part 2 we hear the French woman's distress, and I think the first time you were watching it, at least I did, I assumed that she was long dead, and I never thought we would actually meet Rousseau.
Yeah.
So getting to also R.I.P. Mira Farlong, who we get to meet in this episode. Fantastic. Did you guys ever think when you were first watching it that you were going to meet her? And then what did you think of her introduction in this episode?
No, I thought the same thing, because the way they make it seem is this has been going for 16 years. There's no way somebody would survive that long, by themselves. So
16 years? Has it really been that long? Oh.
I don't think at the time I thought that at all. No, I thought, yeah.
Well, besides that, who would have thought we would have met and seen what happened to Alex?
Yeah,
That's true too.
Yeah.
I kind of put that together though because they kept hinting at it a lot later.
Yeah, the moment when you get to Rousseau at the end of the season saying I wanted to trade Alex for Aaron, it's like, oh, we're gonna see Alex at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, even that though,
okay.
going into the next season, they make a lot of cuts where she's talking about Alex, and then they cut to the girl.
Do you
You know,
meet? I
Ben-
don't think you meet Alex until season 3.
No,
Is that
well,
what it is? Okay.
No, because he helped him clear his name.
But that
But
I think maybe because Libby.
I remember feeling like that was Alex, like Ben's daughter was Alex, because they make a few references to that she wasn't his real daughter. That
Yeah. Oh, you know what, Ben? You're totally right. Alex does. You do see Alex help Claire.
Yeah.
And that has to be season 2 because that happens when Libby
Right.
hypnotizes
I think
her.
it's
Right,
2. Yeah, I
yeah,
think it's season
yeah.
2. Yeah.
Yeah. Then you really get to know Alex in season 3 with all the Hydra Island and Carl stuff.
Yeah.
And
right.
Carl. I like Carl.
Yeah. Carl and Danielle probably the biggest victims of the writer's strike in season 4.
Is that what happened, you think?
Oh no, that's documented that's why they were killed off in the middle of the season because the writer's strike and they had to wrap things up.
Ooh.
That's why it's just like it's not even like the end of the episode. That's just like when you get there. That's just like the middle of an episode. Danielle and Carl die.
Yeah.
That is true.
Well, they played it off well. They played it off really well.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know. I would have never thought anything before.
No. So I teased this a little bit beforehand, but this was an episode that ABC had a lot of issues with coming in, and Danielle was one of their big issues.
Okay.
They were like, we don't like that you're introducing Danielle and Ethan in the same episode. Because that's showing that there's too many new people are joining the cast, and ABC's exact wording was, "You're answering too many questions too fast." And isn't that hilarious to think about when we're talking about Lost?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
It's like you're answering too many questions.
Wow. I don't even know how to respond to that because. Well, okay, so
This is a show that's notorious for not answering questions.
Yeah.
I don't think there are that many actual unanswered questions.
Well, they like dragging things out, is what I mean.
Yeah,
They like
but
dragging it out. That's what
I think a big credo in the early days of Lost, and if you go and read Javier Grillo Mark Swatch's Lost Will and Testament, which is he was a writer for season 1 and 2, who eventually quit, but he tells the stories about how they had a rule in the early days of the writer's room where they would not introduce a thing onto the show. They wouldn't introduce a question unless they had the answer, which is why J.J. Abrams really wanted to put the hatch in the pilot. But Damon Lindelof was like, we don't know what's in the hatch, so we are not putting the hatch in the pilot.
Okay, maybe you know this. I'm always confused.
Okay.
How much input did J.J. have on the whole show?
Yeah.
He was there so in the last video you guys did, I linked to the series Bible, a lot of which was a lot of early sketches about what the characters would be and some ideas, and he helped shape the full idea of what Lost was going to be, and he was the guy who got Damon Lindelof the job because JJ was the one who had this, but he was like, I don't want to be the showrunner for it. I need someone to do it. Lindelof had just started working with him on, I think it was Felicity, and he was like, "Hey, you, come do Lost," which leads to a lot of mental health problems and behind the scenes drama, which leads to a very strange string of episodes in season 1, which I'd love to come back and talk about that stuff. But JJ really, he helped shape the overall framework, and obviously he directed the pilot, but past season 1, pretty much nothing.
Really?
So he went kind of like Spielberg is with the Transformers movie.
Yeah, me saying pretty much nothing is probably not giving him nearly enough credit, because it was Bad Robot the whole time. But like, you got to remember, he started producing the Mission Impossible movies at this point. He had already directed 3, I think, by the time Lost had started, or he was about to direct Mission Impossible 3. They get Star Trek. So like, he becomes very busy very quickly. So he's just not able to be as day to day as other people. So probably more involved than Spielberg on the Transformers movies, but you know.
But like, I don't know about now, but I remember people blaming him about the finale, and like, I don't think that's fair, because I don't think he was that involved past to that point.
No, like, he obviously he was executive producer. He directed the pilot. He built a lot of the framework. Damon Lindelof and Javier Gria-Marquardt, they wrote the series Bible. But outside of that, and like some input through season 1, and probably only even the first half before Carlton Cuse gets involved post all the best cowboys have daddy issues. Not a lot of input.
So Carlton, I thought Carlton was there from the beginning.
Yeah.
No,
Carlton Cue's involvement actually is part of what causes that weird string of episodes between Whatever the Case May Be and Special. Which I would love to come on and talk about.
You had my interest, now you have my curiosity.
Yeah. Did you know?
I definitely want to know.
Damon Lindelof just disappeared for 3 days and no one could find him. Showrunner of the show, nobody could find him. And that's a tease. You'll have to have me back for.
He was on an island. He was trying to method produce. Our method direct. He was on an island.
I would love to come back. We can work this out off screen, but there's a lot of really good behind this scenes.
I have to know now. I have to know.
Oh, I want the version of this show now where they literally do the Tropic Thunder thing and they just take people to a deserted island and just make them live there. Like, for real.
But
can we please have water? No, you may not have water.
But back to Solitary.
Yes.
Last time I was on, we talked about the candidates.
Yeah.
And I told you guys, candidate number 1, the rash guy Sullivan. I forgot that Solitary was the episode with Sullivan the rash man. Jacob, if there was any kind of draft picking for candidate numbers, this is Jacob's number 1 pick on the board.
Really?
Sullivan. I don't think, based on like the flashbacks we see, I don't know that the numbers are actually in chronological order, but I like to think that Sullivan was the first guy that Jacob picked.
Number 1, yeah.
Number 1, the hypochondriac.
That's on the rock, right? That's on the rock. Where we see the names, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Sullivan, crossed out, but he's number 1.
Gotcha. That's funny.
What about him? He's like an average, boring guy who has a rap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But one of the podcasts I listened to about Lost, they came up with a whole backstory for him where he was like a NASA engineer, and they were like, maybe that's what he was doing, and that's just as canon as anything anyone's ever given us.
That actor looks familiar too.
He's one of those guys, Ben. I cannot tell you how long I tried to find something that I remembered him from.
I'll look it up later. Yeah. Saeed is on his own. He finds a wire, follows that wire, gets captured by this woman who turns out to be Russo, right? I mean, and while all that is going on, Huey is trying to find something to do. So what does he do? He makes a golf course.
Why not? Why wouldn't you?
Ben, is this? I've talked a lot, so I don't want to keep just going off, Ben.
Go ahead.
But
Yeah.
in our conversations, I said I believe Hurley building the golf course is the most important B plot of any episode of Lost, and it's maybe the genesis of the most important character arc in the whole show.
Okay, please, yeah, you told me that. I want to
that
know.
one.
Yeah, explain.
So, with a full, spoilers, obviously, we've been talking about season 5 and 6. At the end of the day, Hurley is the new man in charge. He is the Jacob of the island.
Yeah.
Right.
He is the person who, at the end of the day, he wins the lottery of the island, or whatever.
Sure.
But at this point, based on how we understand the candidates work, so sorry to go back. So it kind of makes sense to look at Lost when you're looking at it with an overview as the story of Hurley. How did he get from unlucky lottery winner to essentially Island Jesus? And at this point,
that way, he was born that way because he looks like Island Jesus. He looks like Island.
That's
Jesus.
fair.
You know what? I'm sorry. Kind of looks like Maui a little.
Kinda.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
But at this point, based on what Jacob tells us in season 6, Hurley has not yet been dedicated as a candidate.
Right.
So
Okay.
this is the first moment where Hurley takes a leadership role where in the group where it's not about surviving and it's not about surviving and it's not about getting rescued. It's about making sure the people, which is what Lost is eventually all about, is about the people that we meet along the way. This is the first time he steps up into that role and he starts becoming a leader of men and women and ensuring that people are not going to just always go off into the jungle killing themselves. And I like to think that this is the moment that Jacob sees him as like, this guy's got something. This guy, he's got something. Let's keep an eye on him. And if you track from starting here with the golf course thing where he brings Jack and to being a better version of himself, to next season where he's very involved with the integration of the tailies into the group, to season 3 where he's pushing Sawyer to be the leader while Jack is off and Locke is off on a vision quest, all the way to season 4, the first flashback episode we get, the first flash forward episode we get is a Hurley flashback. Episode 1 is always the Jack episode, but now suddenly in book 2 of Lost, it's starting as Hurley. And then Hurley is the first person that Desmond wakes up in the Sideways universe to bring everyone together to the church. And all of that starts right here with a fucking golf course.
That is
You know
crazy.
what?
I never looked at it, dude, but that is crazy. Yeah, because he's obviously. I've always thought Hurley was the one that deserved it. I've always thought that because he just has the heart, and I think that's what's most important is you have to have the heart, and he has it. He's a great person through and through.
Yeah.
Well, let me interject something. That kind of reminds me of a path I have for how I met your mother. Because in that, it said they were getting that tattoo day in season 3. He never ends up teaching in that classroom where he meets his future wife.
Yeah.
Think about that.
It's fair. It's fair.
Oh, trust me, I think about the ending of How I Met Your Mother all too frequently. But I think this is also the golf course is such a what the hatch becomes in season 2, where it was designed to be like Dante's Inferno and revealing the darkest parts of the characters who go within it. The golf course is kind of the reverse of that, where that it's like Mount Celestia, where it is showing the purest version of people, where people can atone. Where this is where Sawyer begins his reintroduction into the group. This is where Jack's in season 2, where Jack will forgive Kate, and then Mr. Echo will come drop a dying Sawyer onto his lap.
Oh, I can't wait till we get to Mr. Echo.
Oh, me too. I love Mr. Echo.
Love Mr. Echo.
Yeah. Shame about the stuff with him. But
Yes.
But
that's a crazy story, man. With this show, man. Oh my goodness, that's such a good crazy story.
I'm in the dark now. What about Mr. Echo?
You'll find out in season 2. Oh well, more in season 3 actually, because like I guess that's when he dies. That's more important.
Okay, fine.
So Ben, you got to keep the show going till at least season 3.
I want to keep it going. Yeah,
we'll definitely keep it going. Yeah, absolutely.
But the golf course is also it reveals like Michael and just how much of a shitty dad he is. Even though he's trying, where he's like, don't worry, Walt. I'll come play with you. Oh shit, I was playing golf. I forgot.
Sucks how much I like Michael right now, though. It really does, because
do you wanna...
I still feel like he's trying, but man, I hate him.
He literally quit. He literally forgot about his son so he could go play golf. And when his son came to play golf with him, or when his son came, was like, "Hey, Dad, you ditched me." He's like, "Oh man, do you want to play golf?" And he's like, "No." And Michael's response to that should be, "All right, well then let's just go back to the caves. We'll hang out. I'm still trying to repair this relationship." Yeah. Instead of, "All right, well just go play with your dog." This is what drives Walt.
Yeah,
into
he's acting like a dad that's been there, and Walt's like, "Dude, you haven't been there," and then you just forget about me. Like, he acts like a dad that's like been there the whole time. You know what I mean? And he's just like, "Oh, I'm playing golf. It's fine."
Also,
it's not.
Also, speaking of the golf course, my last thing about it bringing out Puritan redemption is. Or not redemption, but just like emotional vulnerability. I don't know if you guys have talked at all about the missing pieces webisodes that they did. No,
I haven't seen those actually.
Oh, some of them, probably like half of them are worth it. Like, there's an episode where Ethan meets Jack, and it kind of explains where Jack's getting all the medical supplies. It's like, oh, Ethan gave them to him.
Okay.
You get to see. You get to see Arst, it turns out, was lying when he says you had to launch yesterday. That was just something he made up. And there's a great one which is called Jin has a temper tantrum on the golf course, where Michael, Jin, and Hurley are playing golf, and this is around the time that Jin has started helping Michael with the raft. Or actually, I think this is supposed to be the same day as Ex Machina. So right before Boone dies, where it's like, all right, Jin, you just got to make this putt and you win. And he misses, and then Jin has a temper tantrum. But then if you like translate out what he's saying, it's like he's just like revealing all his emotional baggage and just like getting it all out. And then in canon, the next time you see him, he's like way more chill and forgiving of Sun because he just had a freak out on the golf course. When you guys get to like season, they all aired between season 3 and 4. When you guys get there, I would really recommend maybe not a full show, but like a segment on just like watch all the webisodes.
Oh, well, I would do that.
Maybe I'll tell you which ones are the good ones because some of them are
that's fair,
not worth it.
Are they still online after all these years?
Yeah, they're all on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
I would be down for that because I've never seen them before. Actually,
yeah. There are some terrible ones where Sun and Michael almost make out, and it's like that's bad. But
okay, I wanted to get into this. Yeah, I've been talking to Don about this. They have been hitting in season 1. There is something going on between Sun and Michael.
It feels like they were heading that way, and then maybe decided to bring Jen to kind of redeem Jen.
Well, and I know this is supposed to be a solitary podcast, so we'll talk about Saeed again at some point. But
Yeah,
but talking about they decided to redeem Jin. Daniel Day Kim only signed on because they promised that they would show the vulnerable and redemption side of Jin because he didn't want to feed into the aggressive Asian husband stereotype. So he's like, I will do this show,
yeah.
but I am not being an asshole for all of season 1. And that's why you get one of my favorite moments in season 1, which is, I think it's in in translation, where Jin has blood on his hands, and you get the reverse of what we saw in House of the Rising Sun, where Jin is on the floor crying in the bathroom.
Yeah.
So that's why stuff like that's in there.
Well, one of my favorite Jin moments is early on when he offers food to Hurley. And Hurley basically like...
Yeah. Like, no, I don't want that, man. Nah. He's like, nah, dude, I'm not that hungry yet.
Anyway, but solitary, eh?
Yeah.
So Saeed's in this show, right?
So what did you guys think about getting to see Saeed? I've always thought of as one of the as easily the most romantic character on the show, both in like a coupling way, but also just like he lives in that Renaissance era romanticizing everything. Before he leaves, he gives Kate a kiss on the hand. What do you think about seeing that side of Saeed even back in his torturing days with Nadia?
It's great because you see there's more to him than a torturer, and I think that was what was needed for that time.
Yeah.
Because we like the stuff.
Yeah.
I think it looked great personally.
Yeah. They could have easily made him a stereotype, and I think giving him that layer actually helped a lot because it made him human. I mean, that's and again, not but I just feel like especially at that time, there was a tendency to lean more towards stereotype than this type of character, and I'm just glad they went this way.
Don't even say back then, because that's still happening now. Like Saeed's like
absolutely true.
Saeed's like a big exception to the rule.
Yes, that's actually very true.
And I don't love like some later stuff that they have him do, where his next flashback episode is literally him and his friend in a terrorist cell. I know he's undercover at the time, but I'm like,
yeah,
maybe not great. Yeah. And then I think in Enter 77 he does he's a chef in France, and it's like, ooh, another Muslim stereotype. Maybe we should stop doing that. But I really loved seeing this side of Saeed, and I also loved that they didn't make him speak. I don't know the language, but what the language that they're talking in the flashback, because Naveen Andrews obviously is British and does not speak that language.
No.
Yeah.
And this is a little bit of a spoiler, but when that link happens in season 2, and he gets mad, it would have been really easy for him to go all the way. But I love the fact that they had to put him back a little, had him be human about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he has every right. At that moment at least, he has every right to want to mess Sawyer up bad.
I thought he was talking about Ana Lucia.
Yeah, I will.
Oh, with Ana Lucia? Oh.
Yeah.
Well, but he does do it with Sawyer too.
Well, he's already done it at this point, though.
Yeah,
no, but what I'm saying is I'm just saying in that moment he could have went all the way.
Mm-hmm.
No, absolutely.
He chose to just get the information and that's it. But he could have went a lot farther.
And I do love in this episode, and it kind of comes. It's a little bit of a follow through from Confidence Man, the last episode, where a lot of shows would have shown he had to torture and he's never going to torture her again.
Yeah.
And in this, he says, I'm never going to torture her again, but also I feel really bad about it, so I have to leave. And I like that. And I like also that he is this man of, Ben talked about, he's the scientist on the show, and he is, with the exception of Kate, I think, the first person to interact with the mystical elements of the island, both through Rousseau and then through the whispers at the end of the episode.
Yeah, sure.
Well, when is Locke not interacting? I feel like.
Oh, you know what? Yeah. Yeah, Locke did.
Like,
I was going to say, because at this point, they've already found the hatch, right? We just don't know they have.
No, they haven't seen. No, they find the
yet.
hatch in all.
and coming up because I found it looking for trouble.
But there's a point where
right?
they found the hatch and they didn't tell anybody yet.
No,
so-
yeah, they find the hatch in All the Best Cowboys Have Daddy Issues. Kate, Jack, Locke, and Boone go off, and then eventually there's 2 trails to follow looking for Ethan, Charlie, and Claire. Jack and Kate go one way, Boone and Locke go the other way, and Boone and Locke find the hatch.
Yep. Gotcha.
So
Yep,
that's
I remember that
in
now.
2 weeks they find the hatch?
I remember that now. Yeah. Yep. Okay.
That's the episode. Is that the Kitty episode with Locke?
No,
I think
that's
later, right?
that is Deus Ex Machina.
Okay.
That's like episode 19, I think, because 20 is Do No Harm, which is when
Okay.
Boone dies.
Mm.
So that's much later. They have a long time
Yeah.
where they have the hatch.
Oh man, that's a tough storyline for me because I'm just sitting there the whole time with him, just like, dude, just be with her. Like she wants to be, just like let it go, man. Like let it go.
Oh, you're talking about the Katie
Locke,
Sackhoff stuff.
with Locke, yeah. No, with Locke, with the flashbacks.
Yeah, with Katie Sackhoff.
No, Kenny
Katie
Seagal.
Seagal.
Oh, what did I say?
Sackhoff.
Kenny
Yeah.
Seagal.
Seagal, yeah. Now,
Yeah.
because I'm just sitting there the whole time, like, dude, you have something great here. Like, just
Well,
like,
that's still not
I
even
get
till
it.
season 2.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what did you think about the like psychological war games going on between Rousseau and Saeed, where Saeed is
man.
very much? I've always read it as he's feigning weakness a little bit to like put her a little bit off her guard. And
He's trying to get information.
yeah. And I love the moment so much when Rousseau finds the picture of Nadia.
Yep.
And he's like, she's dead because of me. And then she leans in real close to him. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I love that so much. I just love that moment
I feel
so
like
much.
I feel like he's not worried at all. When he first wakes up, he's a little like, what the hell? But once he kind of realizes that he's just asking, he's just like calm and cool after that, where he just asking questions and he's just trying to get as much information as he can at that point. Because I think he's been on the other side of that so many times that I feel like he recognized it immediately, and he's like, "I just got to stay cool. I just got to stay cool." And I read it a
little differently, where I think there are several times. This actually happens a few times with Saeed, where there's a few times where he says, "I've done this terrible thing. I deserve to die," and that's kind of where I see Saeed. Like he is doing the trying to get information, but it's not that he's cool and collected. It's more that he's resigned to, if she kills me, I deserve it.
Right. I see that he's like waiting for someone to come back and get him. And he knows all the bad stuff he's done.
Sure.
And he regrets it. And he knows
He
something.
definitely regrets it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something's coming to get to him, and he is ready for that, whenever that is.
Sure.
I think so much is that, like, when the next conversation he has with Sawyer, I think he tells Sawyer, "Yeah, I never intended to come back." So, like, this was a suicide mission for him, I think. But then I think meeting Rousseau and be like, "Oh my god, this is crazy."
Yeah.
I think I told both of you. There's not a bad character in the book. On the main group. Now they're all Wikipedia characters. Characters we don't know the names of that are like
Sure.
so one note and we don't know anything about them, and we have to look up to see who they are.
I think, yeah. I think I could rattle off a couple that aren't great, but that's not what this episode's about. I love Solitary so much that I don't need to sit here and talk to you about Miss Clue and the sheriff from.
But right there, I would call those Wikipedia characters.
You don't know who Miss Clue is just by me saying that?
No, I know who she is, but she's not a main character.
Yeah.
Right. I know what you mean. Yeah.
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 But,
I would agree with you. The main ensemble, I don't
Right.
think has a bad performance in it. Or bad character.
I don't think it does. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
and some characters who we yet to meet in that. But,
Yeah. I
Definitely.
think, yeah. A lot of my favorite characters have not even been introduced yet.
Yeah, mine too.
Big Juliet and Ben guy right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not them together. I want to make that very clear.
I love the Miles and Faraday crew.
Oh, the freighter folk? Yeah, the
Yeah,
freighter folk are fun.
I like them, man. They're good.
I like the penis.
Lapidus is great. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
And let me be honest, who doesn't like Richard?
Oh, I love the unfazing vampire himself, Richard Alpert. But yeah, Solitary, back to this, like
Sure.
this was, I think, also a big this was a big mythology episode for Lost. Like so many questions got answered, both with like the French woman's reveal. You got to hear the first time you heard that about others, in addition to meeting Ethan for the first time in this episode.
Yeah.
Um,
Which is weird because I'll be honest, rewatching this time, I forgot he comes so late. I always, for some reason, felt like he was earlier in this season, but he comes so late. It feels like.
it's only episode. What episode is this? 13, Ben, you said?
Yeah.
It's 25 episodes. It was like half.
I just mean because it does now, knowing who he is, and it feels correct because you know, I don't know. It's just when you first meet him the first time, you're like, yeah, where has this guy been the whole damn time? But now when you know who he is, it makes it's weird.
Well,
It's really cool the way they did it. Actually, it's cool.
Do you know who his real life cousin is?
Oh, you've told me this before. Yes,
I do.
He's this. Who is he?
It's Tom
He's
Cruise's
Top
cousin.
Gun- Yeah, the
Yeah,
Top
cousin.
Gun guy. The Top
Top Gun
Gun
guy.
the Top, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that's very funny. I didn't even notice your
Top Gun
hat.
guy. Oh, nice. You're wearing the shirt. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I love it.
Nice.
I love it. I got the shirt on too.
I wish I was wearing the Top Gun shirt, but I'm wearing Prince Edward
and I
Island
picked
sweater.
this up today, guys.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Nice.
watching that again tonight.
We're talking about like Ethan showing up in this episode also.
Uh huh.
How weird is it that he's hanging out with Locke?
Yeah. Right.
Like let us not forget, he will, due to time travel shenanigans, he has, in Ethan's mind, he has shot this man, and then this man disappeared. Like 8 years ago, because it's the day the Beechcraft crashes. So what's going through Ethan's head?
So, okay, let me ask you this. Shouldn't Ethan know him? Or shouldn't he recognize him at this point?
Yes, because whatever happened. The time travel rules of Lost state that John Locke has already gone back and been shot by Ethan. Because by that, if Ethan doesn't recognize Locke, then through that property, Juliet shouldn't have been able to deliver Ethan, so Ethan shouldn't exist.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
See, this is oh my god. See, this is the part where I start.
Timey-wimey.
Yeah. Whatever
Yeah,
happened,
yeah.
happened. You can't
Yeah.
change
Fair.
the past. Unless
Okay.
you're Desmond. Then you can change the past. But he...
Can Louis change the past?
I think she knows about... she can manipulate the future because she knows about the past from the future because she killed her son. But she was only able to kill her son because she sent her son to be killed because she shot her son because of Desmond. So
That is true.
I don't know that Eloise can change the future as much as Desmond is very clearly unstuck from time.
Fact, yeah. That's what makes him my favorite character. He's so interesting.
Yeah.
Definitely.
He gets
Well,
the...
back to-
Sorry. Let's not... We don't need to waste time talking about this character that's not going to show up for another
I need a whole
season.
episode of just explaining this stuff because now I'm lost.
Lost. That's why I come on the show. I'm never
I
going to
love
be
it.
invited back. I've ruined the show.
No, you made it way better now. Honestly,
Yeah,
I would be
you
looking
said
for
that.
little things like that. I'll be looking for every little detail now. I really am.
Like, it's fun. No, I'm sticking to solitary. It's also a lot of fun. This episode, to go to Ben, we talked about the why Nadia should be in the church of it all, and I love the flashback with Nadia where it's revealed that Saeed killed 2 men to get her out of captivity after torturing her for months. So I'm like, it's fine. But Ben,
all about timing.
all about timing. But Ben, question: what does the back of Nadia's picture say? Saeed tells it to us. What does it say?
I forget.
Yeah, I can.
It says, "Find me in this life or the next."
Oh, shut the fuck up.
So, because Danielle asks, "What does it say?" And then Saeed tells her that, and that's what gets Danielle to put the gun down.
Right.
So that would imply, find me in this life when he becomes part of the Oceanic Six, or the next, the Flash sideways. But no, he ends up with Shannon.
But you to him the more important time in his life than the time he spent on the island.
Ben, that doesn't mean I have to like it. I can know that that's the truth. I don't have to like it.
No, I can agree with you on that though because he deserves her.
Yeah.
Absolutely, he deserves to have her in that moment, man.
And Jacob killed her.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man, he does. No, I think you're right. He does deserve her in that moment, man.
In that moment, also though, where he tells Danielle that about what Nadia's picture says, and she gets to put her gun down. I think what an amazing acting performance from Mira Furlong there, where she just, and knowing what we have seen during the flashes in season 5 of how she had to kill her whole team and all that. What amazing work there, where she's like, oh fuck, not again. And when she says, not Montan, what's her husband's name? No, Montan lost his arm. What's his name? I don't know, but
I don't remember now. Yeah,
but when she says that, and at that point she believes that that her and Saeed are the same, and she's like, you can't leave because I need someone to be with me because I'm so sad and I'm so alone, and you get to see that vulnerability, and then he leaves anyway. Heartbreaking.
Well, I mean, yeah, I tend to agree with you. This episode is the most, maybe you didn't say this, I'll say it. It's the most important episode because this is the episode where shit gets real.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Everything before this episode, they were just stranded on an island. But this episode going forward, there are others, there's a mystery, there's kidnapping, shit gets into high gear in this episode.
Yeah, and that's why, going back, ABC really wanted this episode changed, because they were like, you're introducing all this stuff. We don't want to lose the focused show that we have that's just starting to premiere now. Where if you start, they wanted to hold Danielle's reveal until the season finale, which I don't think has the same impact if she just shows up and then immediately kidnaps a baby.
No.
Right.
Really lose all sympathy for her there. But then also this episode, I think, also really helps set up next week's episode, where next week will be Hurley running around trying to find who's not on the manifest. Yeah. And because this week we've been introduced to Danielle's told us there are other people on this island. And also we've met a couple of ancillary characters like Sullivan and Ethan, and we meet someone else who originally the Rash storyline was supposed to be, I think, a Boone storyline, but then they were like, we're giving too much to Boone and Shannon, so we got to pull back and show that there are other people on this island.
Yeah.
It really helps set that up so that you don't immediately next week, when you're like, it could be anyone, it could be Scott or Steve, it could be anybody, you don't immediately go, oh, it's Ethan, because we've been introduced to other characters this episode.
Sure.
When do we hit Arch for the first time?
That is in Kate's third episode, which is called it's Born to Run. So right before Exodus is when Arst shows up and is like, and the tides are going north. So when do you got to launch? Yesterday. Which, fun fact, Leslie Arst, based on a real character, a real person that Damon Lindelof knew.
Oh, really?
Fun fact. The actor who played Arch is in a Netflix movie. You know which movie?
I don't. I thought you were going for the Home Alone connection. I don't know this.
Do you know it, Don?
No. Is it a Netflix movie? Oh, God.
Monsters.
Oh, I don't even. Don't.
Oh, it's in the Monsters.
He's in Grandpa.
Nope.
I hope
him, I would hide that credit on my IMDb. I'd hide it.
Do you know the connection with Daniel Roebuck, the guy who plays Arst and Home Alone?
No, you did. What is it?
Have me back for the Exodus podcast, and I will tell you. This is my new superpower. I'm just gonna tease. Behind the scenes stuff, and then get invited back.
You always welcome back. You don't need
He
to
is in
like.
Home Alone. Is he the manager at the store?
He's not in Home. He is not in Home Alone.
Oh, he's not a Home Alone. Okay.
He has a very funny connection to Home Alone, but he is not in the movie.
Oh, okay.
It's never happening to me off.
I was gonna say, because now I'm trying to rack my head.
No, Ben. I'm not gonna tell you off camera. I'll tell you on the Exodus podcast. I can't be giving away all my good information. Can I also say that this episode, and it goes back to the golf course, has one of my favorite exchanges in early Lost.
Okay.
Where
Hurley is introducing the golf course to everyone. It's like he's talking about, like, we don't know when we're going to be rescued, and there's a monster. Maybe it's a pissed off giraffe. I don't know, or that might be in Numbers. They talks about the pissed off giraffe, but he's talking about, like, there's all this stuff going on. There was a polar bear, and Michael goes, polar bear? And then Charlie just goes, you didn't hear about the polar bear? It's like information has not gotten around yet. It's like Sawyer killed a polar bear. You think that would have been the biggest news?
Yeah, right.
But even Michael, who is like in the inner circle, has not been.
Is he in the inner circle?
Yeah, like we talked about.
So. At this point, yeah, he's definitely in the inner circle.
Yeah, like he's the only reason people are living in the caves, because after the moth, where Jack gets trapped in there and eventually gets tunneled out, Jack comes to whoever, I think it's Kate he comes to, and it's like, yeah, Michael signed off on the rest of the cave, so we are good to move in.
Yeah.
Like, he's obviously going to become a bigger part of it in, like, special where the raft launch starts coming around. But even now, like, he's designing irrigation works and stuff for the caves. Like, he's like, if Hurley is Jack's number 2, Michael's like a third or fourth.
One of my favorite dynamics is the Michael and Jen romance evolution.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They get to the point where they don't even have to talk to each other, and they know what the other one is thinking.
Yeah.
Early season 2, Michael and Jin is so good.
Yeah.
Even though they're not together for a lot of it, just like the camaraderie that they share even apart.
Sure.
And like, yeah, and Jin's the one who like convinces Michael to come back with him and Mr. Echo.
Well, Jin's the one that also is the one that convinces everybody to go after Michael, right?
Yeah. It's like Sawyer's dying, but I'm going.
And he just keeps saying, Michael.
Yeah.
He's like, Michael.
Yeah. And then Echo's like, I'm going, I guess.
Right. Yeah, right. I guess I'm going, sure. Yeah.
Well, I guess he's not talking. Oh, no, he's talking at that point, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Somewhat. Yeah. More.
I like that episode where you see what happens with the other side of the plane.
The other 48 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other 48 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do wonder why they didn't. I guess maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I guess because it's just so they just skipped through that so fast in those 2 episodes. Or was it 2 episodes? They kind of go over it all.
It's 1 episode.
Well, that 1 episode, but I mean, they kind of, yeah. I guess it is just that one, really. That
And I really,
I was expecting like I would just expect like a second half of the season for them.
But when you think about it, like there's only 5 of them left, right? At the end of the 40.
Well, that's true.
Because, and you guys will get there, and maybe I'd love to come back and talk about the other 48 days. But the Tailies had it rough.
Absolutely.
Night 1, people were getting kidnapped. Goodwin was much more efficient than the crazy man that is Ethan.
Well, and let's be honest, Jack is a way better leader than Ana Lucia. I like Ana Lucia, don't get me wrong. She ain't no leader.
I think a really fun thought experiment will either be in the other 48 days or Exodus. One of those things. In a flashback in Exodus, Ana Lucia and Jack almost switch plane seats. So I think a fun experiment would be just talking through what would happen if that had gone through. Like Sawyer's dead. If Ana Lucia's in the
for sure, yeah, absolutely.
Like Sawyer's not getting tortured. Sawyer's getting executed.
Yeah.
I think Kate would have killed Ana Lucia.
That's possible too. That's possible too, honestly.
I don't think so, because Kate, for as much bluster and like she killed her abusive stepdad, but Kate's not a killer.
Oh no, but in that situation, I don't think Kate would have let her do Lord of the Flies style. And that I don't think any of them would. There's a lot of them in that group that I think
her and Saeed would have either been best friends or butted heads a lot.
Mortal enemies, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you who wouldn't lie in the pilot or in the 3rd episode. Shannon.
Yeah.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I think I have a feeling her and Saeed would actually be good together.
I think so. Yeah.
I think Saeed would be able to bring the human out of her, and she would be able to do the tough things.
Oh,
that Saeed couldn't do. Or doesn't want to do.
That he can't do. This man did torture a man in the last episode.
I should say didn't want to do. I should say.
Do you think they wouldn't have ended up well,
if those two would have got along, they would have ended up together.
They would have got caught in a net for sure.
Thank you.
Oh yeah.
That's what I've been trying to go for.
Yeah. No, I knew where you were. I picked up what you were putting down. So another thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, and I know we're already running longer than you guys usually run, but that's what happens when you let me talk about Lost.
There's nothing wrong about talking about the best show ever on TV.
What did you guys this is the first time you hear the whispers.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Do you guys? And I don't know that I fully love the way the show ends up handling the whispers. But did you guys have any thoughts or theories the first time the whispers came up? The first time you heard them?
I didn't
I did.
expect. Go ahead. Sorry, Ben. Go ahead.
I didn't thought they were like dead people. Like
Yeah.
dead, gone.
Yeah. No, because we
Yeah.
have that one scene where they're like walking, and the girl is like dragging the teddy bear. Yeah. What is that? That's like the next episode, right? Isn't it?
No, that's well into season 2. That's when
Is it?
Jin is.
Wow.
Yeah, that's when Jin and Echo are looking for Michael, because the little girl who has the teddy bear is one of the children from Ana Lucia's camp.
Wow.
Yeah. No,
It's been a while since I've watched it all, so yeah.
the
I'm
whispers in this, and I was telling Ben earlier. I've
Well,
been
yeah,
off for
in
a
this
couple-
episode, it's just the whisper. That's all you hear. Yeah, yeah.
In the whispers in this are, if you Lostopedia has translated what all the whispers are actually saying, and it's very clear that it's Rousseau's team, where
Oh.
they're saying things like, "We should tell him he's seen too much. Maybe he can help us," and then knowing where they are is they're pretty close to the temple, which is where a lot of her team got the sickness. And I also think that this is the first time we hear about the sickness, which then
Didn't
think-
they ever really explain what the sickness was? I forget.
Not that I remember. No.
the sickness is like the best I can understand it is the smoke monster's influence on you. The sickness is
Okay.
like what happens to Saeed after he dies and then comes back, or what happens to Claire when she skips season 5, and she goes from Claire to Rousseau.
Yeah.
So I've always
Yeah.
imagined the sickness is like there's a tiny little smoke monster inside you, controlling you. That's what the sickness is.
Okay.
Now that's obviously very dumb and not what it actually is.
That's a little creepy, but
It is a little creepy.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a little creepy.
But the sickness was. I think it's also very interesting that we get introduced to the sickness, and this is also the episode where Jack's dealing with medical crises with someone like Sullivan.
yeah.
So it's like, I remember thinking at the time, that guy's sick. He's got the sickness. He's got the COVID in him.
Oh God, that was 16 years before COVID. Yeah,
You know,
that is insane.
When did SARS happen?
2005-ish.
Ah, we're so close.
I think so. I think something like that.
Yeah, I think you're
Oh.
right. We're so close. Almost hit it. Almost got SARS. But I love this episode also, just because you get to see. This is also the only one of only 2 Emmy nominations that this season will get for acting. Sorry, because Terry O'Quinn will be nominated for Walkabout, and then Naveed Andrews will be nominated for Best Supporting Actor for his performance in this episode.
So
You know, I
definitely
know them
deserves it
win.
in this episode.
I know them win.
No, neither of them won. I forget who. Terry O'Quinn, I don't think. John Locke gets nominated all the time, and then Michael Emerson, who plays Ben, gets nominated all the time. And I know eventually both of them end up winning, but this is the only time Naveed Andrews gets nominated for this.
That's
for this performance.
insane. That's
Yeah.
insane.
Well, to be fair though, I think this is with a lot. There's a lot of characters where their first flashback is their strongest episode,
Sure.
and when I think about the other episodes, like The Greater Good, Enter 7-7, and the one where Kate's dad teaches. Sorry, not Kate's dad. Kate's dad's there, but Mr. Krabs is the one who teaches him how to torture. Like those are the other Saeed flashback episodes, and I'm like, this is definitely the strongest showing that Saeed has.
I mean, I like him overall in this
Oh,
show.
he's
Just
my favorite
overall,
character.
He's just so good. Every time he's on the screen, you're just wondering what the hell is going to happen with him. Man. Yeah.
And you're always like, hey, listen to Saeed. He's saying all the right things.
That is the other thing. Yes, he is the most level-headed and definitely the best leader out of all of them.
Yeah. Like there will be a point where after Boone dies, and Saeed has found out about the hatch, that he brings Jack in on it. And Jack's like, all right, so how do we open it? And Saeed's like, what?
Yeah,
I brought you here to talk him out of opening it.
Right,
That's
right,
a terrible idea.
Yeah, yep.
And I would never open the hatch.
Yeah, I remember that scene. I definitely remember that scene. That's
Well, I mean, we can get into it now or next time. What did you guys think was in that hat the first time you guys saw it?
Wow, the first time I probably thought it was the others. I probably thought that was how they were getting like to the people. See, I don't remember. I'm trying to remember how everything had. That's the problem. I don't have a good timeline.
I thought the monster lived in the hatch.
Ooh, that was a minute.
Yeah.
And we hadn't seen the monster yet, and I don't think we see it until like we've seen it, but we haven't like seen the smoke yet.
I don't think we see it until season 3.
No, we definitely see it in Exodus. You see the wisps, and a tendril of smoke definitely grabs Locke's leg and pulls him into a hole. So we haven't seen it yet, so I was like, oh yeah, it's gonna unscrew, and then like the monster is gonna come out. So I thought the monster was down there.
Yeah. Yeah. I like what's down there, but that's for another time. Is there anything
that's the
else
worst part of the whole show. Come on, what are you talking about? Get out of here.
Yeah, we don't even.
I actually wouldn't even disagree that much.
Oh no, I know it's his favorite character. I'm just giving him a hard time.
Yeah. No, I love Desmond.
Yeah, Desmond's
You're
awesome.
in another life, brother.
And who's the guy that plays the guy that's with him?
It's Mr. Krabs. It's Clancy Brown.
Yeah, so I was trying to remember his name. No, the actor's name.
Clancy Brown. Yeah. I think he's like
I love
candidate
him.
13 or something. Because Kelvin Inman was a candidate.
I love him.
He was?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah, Inman's on there. Desmond, not a candidate.
Oh, I knew that.
That makes sense, though. That makes sense.
Well,
honestly.
he's either candidate 108, not a candidate, or Jacob's son.
Okay. Ooh.
We can get into that much later. Desmond's not even on this. We've talked about Desmond so much. The hatch hasn't even been revealed on the show.
You're coming back on.
Oh, yeah.
But,
Oh, definitely.
okay, if this is the impetus for Hurley, has Hurley been touched yet by Jacob?
No. Hurley gets touched in the taxi ride to the Ajira flight.
Okay.
Because that's when Jacob gives him the guitar case with the Ong in it.
Right, the guitar. Yeah,
that's when he gets touched by Jacob. That's why I think the golf course is the first moment that, because you kind of have to ascribe some omniscience to Jacob, either through the lighthouse or he's a white smoke monster. As some people have that belief. I don't subscribe to that, but he obviously sees everybody. So I like to think that this is the moment that he said, we know not everyone on 815 was a candidate.
Right.
So I like to think that this was the moment where he's like, I'm going to keep my eye on Hugo Reyes.
I think I figured it out.
All right, Ben cracked lost, everybody. Go home.
Right.
Jacob is like the three-eyed raven from Game of Thrones. He moves into animals. So every time we see Vincent, there's really Jacob in there.
Well, I would love to say that, except clearly Vincent is not an AOJ agent of Jacob. He clearly works for the Man in Black, given one of the missing pieces, where the Man in Black tells Vincent to go wake up Jack in the pilot.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I don't remember. Actually, wow.
that's in the missing. That's in one of the webisodes.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, some of them are really good.
Okay.
You know
these
what?
are-
I'm going to.
I'm gonna look these up now. Yeah, I really. am.
Yeah.
Some of them not great. Jin having a temper tantrum, 10 out of 10.
Well, it makes me think of like the Animatrix, because I remember loving the Animatrix so much. So like that's what it reminds me of, is like more
Yeah, this was
connective stories.
in between season 3 and 4, where you get a little bit more Arst, you get a little bit more Shannon. I think you get some more Boone and Shannon. You get a lot more Michael. You get more Ethan, more Jack, more Ben.
So you could say these episodes are kind of like the tales of the survivors of 815.
Yes, but I like to imagine that some of them aren't canon, so I don't want to say that.
Oh, now I'm really curious. Alright, man, we have to have you on more often. This was really fun.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I would love to come on to talk about. So far, I've gotten to talk about Walkabout and Solitary, probably 2 out of the top 5 episodes of season 1. I'd love to talk about, maybe my least favorite episode of season 1, whatever the case may be, which is also the starting of the interesting behind the scenes drama. Or,
You know,
like that.
Hearts and Mind, that episode where Boone and Shannon start kissing.
oh, so we
Yeah.
get another look in their action. I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
How could you forget? That is.
I don't know, man. I've been getting up
Oh,
and having all along.
there's been some tension between them since the beginning, though.
Yeah. So much so that in I think the second episode, Shannon or Sun asks about the other married couple, and she's referring to Sun and she's referring to Boone and Shannon.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't pick that up. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is funny.
But that when Sun was still lying to everybody.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
couldn't understand English.
Yep.
She doesn't speak English.
No.
Lie. It's all lies.
Liar. So
Lies.
Dave, tell everyone who's watching where they can find you.
You can find me on the Northern Entertainment group YouTube channel. Every Tuesday I have a show where me, Rob Snark, and some other people talk about everything going on in the world of TV. We also have a lot of other great programming happening there. So head on over, like, comment, subscribe. You can follow me on Leaves Me Alone on Twitter, but that's a terrible follow, so don't do that. And I haven't posted a lot, but I want to get back into the habit of posting on Instagram. So I definitely don't want to be showing those messages back.
No, don't show those.
Oh, yeah.
You can follow me at Baby James Lees on Instagram.
Don, after you, my man.
Sure. Yeah, guys, so you can find me on Twitter at Jedi Master Tuck. You guys can find me also here every Monday doing Fellowship of Geekdom, every Tuesday on Geekdom Initiative, every Wednesday on Jedi Academy, and every Sunday on Geekdom Uncut. Also look for me in the Facebook group. Guys, please like and subscribe to the channel, and come check us out this Saturday, guys. We have a live stream we hit 100 subscribers, so we are really excited about that.
Congratulations, guys, by the way. I didn't get a chance to
Thank
say
you.
that.
Thank
You guys put out quality products every week, multiple shows a week. Obviously, this one's my favorite because it's about Lost.
Bias much?
No, and I also, you guys do. If I'm being honest, I think you guys do a great job. Even when you cover 3 episodes last week, in 75% of the time that it took me to talk about this one. You guys do a great job, and you deserve every subscriber you get. So definitely come join them. Their live stream on Saturday. I'll be on a plane, so I won't be there. But
We do appreciate
Come
it.
in.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, man. And you guys can find me right here on this channel. I'm also on the channel Davidson every Tuesday on the One Up Tape and every Saturday morning on another countdown, right? Yeah. And
it's your show, Ben.
I know.
I know. Anyway, thank you all for joining us and we'll see you next week. And me, I have to go back. Son of a bitch.
We have to go back.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.